Hello everybody, back in Oregon now, so we have the opportunity to do a manual soil texturing with a heavy clay soil. So I'm here at the student farm outside of Corvallis, Oregon, and yeah, so first step, let's dig a hole. Alright, hole dug. Ta-da! This is one of the soil pits for some of the soil classes at Oregon State, so luckily I don't have to dig anything. What I'm going to do, since this is much deeper than you'll ever really be growing in, is just take a sample now from about the top 10 inches into a cup, and I'll bring that back to you. So, first thing we notice is that there's a lot more aggregation. Let's see if I can move this. A lot more aggregation, like actual chunks of soil. What we had in the Rocky Mountains was rocks. This is all soil aggregates, clods that can break down into more soil. I mean, there's like a pebble or two in here, but it's mostly well aggregated soil. Alright, so next part. Alright, change of place and time because I didn't charge the camera before I left. So I got the sample here. First things first, just pick out all the rocks. In Wyoming, when I was on top of a mountain, I had to screen it, right? Put it through a sieve to get all the rocks out. Here, I'm not going to bother. For one, I don't really have access to any of that right now, and then for another, I just don't need it. There's not that many rocks. One thing you can also do is pick out some of the organic matter. They might have a bit of the straw and stuff. So, like I said, not many rocks, beside the one that I pulled out and threw away for dramatic effect. These are the other three that I found. So I'll get rid of them. And now I'm just going through here and busting up all the little clods, like taking off these big pieces and just pushing them kind of against each other and breaking them up into smaller and smaller pieces. You can kind of do it like if you've ever crushed sugary candy together, you know, to see which one will get crushed and which one won't. And just, you know, work them against each other to try and break them down. Obviously this is easier with some water, but you know, you can kind of give a first pass of just breaking up all the biggest pieces. And you can keep tapping this to get some bigger pieces to the top. Break them apart. Alright, I'll use some water and I'll check back in. Alright, so a little bit wet, see that? A little bit wet, just so glistening and everything, kind of barely holding together. Easily making a mess in my hand. Like, this isn't something that's like quickly pulling off. See that? It's staying smeared. Doesn't really hold the ball. Like, it's very much on the liquidier side. So we just wait for it to dry. Kind of work it maybe a little bit. Can always keep working it. This would. The more you work it, the better the clay will be. However, the bigger mess you're going to make if it's too wet. So I'm just going to mostly wait. Alright, we're almost there. It's drying out. The smear test isn't going positively, but this is drying out. It's staying a little bit off my hand if I keep moving it. Still very liquidy, but we're getting there. Alright, we're ready. It's kind of, you know, it's doing that peel away from my hand. It's not quite so glistening. It's staying in a shape rather than just kind of like holding it and oozing down. Alright, first step, roll it into like a log or something. And then kind of want to hold it in the crook of your finger here. You'll be pushing on it like this and squeezing it out over this finger bone. And then you just kind of squeeze, work it up like that, squeeze, work it up, squeeze, work it up, squeeze. Kind of starting to want to break there. A little bit drier, it'd stand out a little bit better, but so there we go, right? Got, getting on 3 inches there. 50% to 100% longer than in Wyoming. Not as much as I had hoped. I was kind of worried that this was going to happen, and so I might be uploading a 3rd video. But so, like I said, kind of not as much clay as I expected. But what happened was there's 2 soil pits on the soil or on the student farm. One of them was overgrown, so I didn't go into it, and I dug from the lower one. And so what happened is that the lower pit is from what's left of like an old riverbed in the valley, and so it's a little bit sandier, a little bit siltier. So we're still seeing more clay than on top of the Rocky Mountains, like literally bedrock feet below. And I'm just working it up and squeezing it and keeping it, about that thick, thinnish, held together. Obviously it's starting to crumble there. There we go, it's getting about the right dryness now. Really get a good estimate here. Oh, lost it. So, made that one a little bit too thick. I don't know, that's still 2 inches, maybe a 3.5 if this had stayed on. Try this one more time. Anyway, the point being, took it from a lower bed, more sand, more silt. Going to be harder to ribbon, not as much clay as the higher bed would surely be. What do you see here? Look at this. Until I moved it, had a ribbon about that far. So yeah, easily, 30% clay. Alright, so that's the first of maybe 2, hopefully just this one, about doing soil texture in a higher clay soil. Yeah.